Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
And to my fellow citizens,
Just kidding, YouTube is flooded with that stuff right now. I've got some more interesting stuff to check out.
After my 22 years of research, I come to the conclusion that social media, the internet, and everything that we call entertainment is a mechanism to use against the people to control your mind, alter your thoughts, and tell you how to think, tell you how to behave, influence you in ways that you never imagined. This is why immersive television is the new thing. They want to integrate you into the system. They want to make you part of the algorithm, a cyborg, transhumanism. And everybody's like, oh, conspiracy theorists. But you can say as much as you wish. But when the truth reveals itself, I wish you would say something then. But you won't, because you'll just implement the conspiracy as the truth now. But why wait and be blind to the signs? It's time to wake up, y'all.
Prior to this channel, I had zero social media, and now I have all of the social medias. Well, almost all of them. And it's so true. You're scrolling through and you have a select topic and it brings you back to whatever they want you to see. And you got to go back and do all different searches and stuff and make it get back to what you want to see. And it's just super interesting to see how that works. If you know what you're looking for, if you're awake and you're paying attention to the brainwashing, then that's pretty much what it is.
Democrats are seeming to launch a new propaganda campaign against Trump on X. There are compilations of Democratic members of Congress saying the exact same thing in virtually the exact same way, in the same manner. Here's an example.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse.
Now, that has also expanded out to this.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's.
And then as of now, it's expanded to this.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
So this definitely seems like a coordinated mass effort to shift public opinion about Trump and what he's doing. I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how many people respond to it.
It's not that they're coming after him that irritates me, because that's just what happens. You know, when we're on one side, we don't like what the other side has to say, and our spokespeople, if you will, have things to say. What I don't like about it is that it's exactly the same, because that's what the legacy media does. They write one script and they give it to everybody. Now, I don't know if they all have the same producer or if they all sat down and decided we're all going to do the exact same thing, but I'd like to see a little originality. And we're not getting that.
Donna Hare, who claims to have worked for an engineering and computer contractor associated with NASA in the early 1970s, has said that she herself has seen photos from NASA of UFOs and aliens on the moon that had been withheld from the general public, and astronauts who were there have been told not to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but I'm also not saying it's false. I'm just saying that that's what Donna Hare has claimed for decades now. In fact, she said NASA used the code name Santa Claus for the UFOs and aliens they'd see on the moon. So if anybody was listening in on their conversations, you wouldn't know what they were talking about. Now, for years, a lot of people, way more than just Donna Hare, have speculated that there might be an alien base on the dark side of the moon. And some of NASA's own photos show stuff that's kind of suspicious. Then there's other people, like me, who think it's a possibility that the moon itself could be some type of alien space station that's been up there for well over 100,000 years. But my question to you, yeah, you back there with the head, do you think it's possible that there are alien bases on the moon, or the moon itself might be an alien base? Let me know in the comments section. And remember, cross your fingers, because it's easier than crossing your toes. Shabadoo Booshkies! Shabba
Okay, show of hands. How many of you just tried to cross your toes right now? Because I totally did. But Joe is absolutely right. And oh, Joe is now part of our community. He just subscribed the other day and we are so excited to have him along. Thank you so much for being here. And I have a great idea. We are going to do a shameless plug because Joe Gillespie always has some of the most amazing content. And here he is right here, Joe Gillespie. I think it's Gillespie. It might be Gillespie. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Joe Gillespie the Great. And what you can do is head over to his TikTok and check out some of his stuff. He's got fantastic outlook on all kinds of cool things. One more time, Joe Gillespie the Great. Thank you so much for sticking around for this week's shameless plug. Now, seriously, I do believe that there's something going on with the moon. I think there's probably something over on the dark side that we don't know about, or it might be a space station that was brought in forever and a half ago. I don't know. There is definitely something going on with the moon, though.
Like, there is a belief out there that the head of the power pyramid of intelligence agencies is NASA. Because if you think about this, it's the one thing that everybody wants to work together on. Like, we're possibly we're having this weird kind of nuclear standoff with Russians, but somehow, some way, we're all working on a space station together. That and Antarctica are the two things where everyone like puts their differences aside. We're like, let's all work together. And it's like, there is this real belief that the head of the snake of the intelligence agencies, which is like Mossad, CIA, MI6, is NASA space station, is the NASA organization.
Space administration.
Yeah.
Inside of my conspiracy brain, I have never linked those two together. The whole NASA conglomerate and the Antarctica Treaty. That is pretty fascinating. So maybe when the aliens came down and they made their little pact with the humans that they're gonna take however many they're gonna take whenever they're gonna take them, and then NASA's like, we have to protect them and their existence or something, and something's going on in Antarctica with them. And everybody's all in on it. Well, all of the heads of the government are all in on it. That is fascinating. I never thought of that.
New details tonight on plans to turn Myrtle Beach into Meta Beach. It's all part of making the city a smart city using new advanced technology. Our Ali Espinosa joins us live from downtown Myrtle Beach tonight, and Ali, city staff are actually calling this the fourth industrial revolution. Talk about the ultimate upgrade. So what does that mean for us here in Myrtle Beach?
Rachel, the overall goal is to improve our quality of life here in Myrtle Beach, and city staff say they're working to do that through new technology, and it's all starting right here in downtown Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. It's the second fastest growing city in the entire country. From its 60-mile beach to hosting one of the biggest country music festivals, Myrtle Beach is no doubt an area that has a lot to offer.
That's not suspicious at all, is it?
There are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids.
I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I volunteer. Let's go. That sounds like fun. I mean, it sounds a little terrifying as well, but I mean, what an adventure.
The largest stone moved in human history is the Ramesseum statue in Egypt. It's 1,000 metric tons. That was inexplicably moved 170 miles from the quarry in Aswan. They say that the stones would have been moved on tree logs. They say that it was the Lebanon cedar trees. It's one of the softest on earth. If you were to put significant weight on it, it would either crush it, crumble it, or at least dent it out of a circle. When you look into the nuanced details, it becomes abundantly clear that the true history of mankind was more advanced than what we were taught in school.
I thoroughly believe that there were civilizations previous to our own that were way advanced. But what I hadn't considered until literally just now was that 4-hour tape series that we checked out just a little while ago, right? It was a little crazy. What if that civilization, prior to them coming down and eating us all, got super advanced? And then they came and took us all out and dumbed us down to a certain level, and now we're kicking back up again. What if that happened?
know how this works. You can manipulate your own genetics. If you think of DNA like a record, it gets transcripted like that needle running across the vinyl translates the vibration into sound. Except this translates it into protein. DNA is the hard drive to your whole body. We used to think the DNA that didn't make proteins was junk, but that's not true. The field of epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and environment can change your genes. All the information that has ever been created ever can fit on a ping pong ball sized amount of DNA. Researchers in China just created a computer that can run billions of different programs at the same time using DNA. That massive storage and capability allows us to live in the most harsh environments on the planet and also fight off the worst diseases. Those are subconscious signals from the environment. You control your thoughts that are electrical impulses or vibration. In Switzerland, they've been able to turn genes on and off using electrical impulses. But if we can control thought, we might be taking the long way around to achieve the same result.
I'm trying to take a little bit of a dive into epigenetics because all of it just blows my mind. And it's probably because I have been taught certain things about our genes. The majority of us have been taught these things that you can't change them. They don't change. But there are studies that have shown that you can. You just have to break free of that train of thought that you've been trained, I suppose, and my brain won't let go of, no, this can't happen. But apparently it's kind of possible. I haven't witnessed it personally, obviously, so my brain is like, you haven't seen it, therefore it cannot be true, which is weird. Because there's a lot of things that I think are true that I've never seen. But for some reason, it's ingrained in me that, nope, this cannot happen. Well, starting to break a little bit free. Bless you.
If you'll indulge me, I'd like to read 2 pages from advice from the extraterrestrials. Yes, it's true that we have been in contact with your government and heads of power. It is also true that it is also true that agreements have been made and kept secret from your people. It is also true that in the past, some of your people have lost their lives or have been badly hurt to protect the secret. Our hands had no part in this. We contacted your leaders because your planet is in grave trouble. Your leaders said the vast majority of your population wasn't ready or anything like us yet. So we made time agreements with your leaders as to when your people would be made aware of our presence. Your air, your water are contaminated. Your forests, jungles, trees, and plant life are dying. There are several breaks in your food chain. You have an overwhelming amount of nuclear and biological weapons, which include nuclear and biological contamination. Your planet is overpopulated. Warning, it is almost to the point of being too late, unless your people act. There are better ways of deriving energy and food needs without causing your planet any damage. Those in power are aware of this and have the capability of putting these methods into worldwide use. Those in power view it as a military and security threat. That upset me. You mean to tell me that the people in power have the ability to save and better the planet, and they aren't doing it? Amnesty. What do you mean? Complete amnesty to those in power, governments and leaders who have been suppressing the truth, that they can't be held liable for any past wrong deeds. It is the only way these leaders can come forward with the truth. It is necessary that you do this in order to work together and survive.
Ah, man, I got duped. So I was super excited about that clip, and then I went back and watched it again, and apparently in the very beginning, I don't think that was real. I think it was a deep fake because it's obviously not from the extraterrestrials. But that would have been pretty cool if it actually was from the aliens.
95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. So then how do you begin to make those changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in, because you can teach people through practice how to change their brainwaves, slow them down. And when they do that properly, they do enter the operating system where they can begin to make some really important changes.
I feel like we may have seen that clip before, and I feel like that's the whole mind over matter thing. Like, you have to get in there and convince that 5% that it's going to take over the other 95% and it's going to tell it what to do. I guess that's what epigenetics is you tell your brain, no, this is what we're going to do, or your brain tells your body, no, this is what we're going to do, and you have to like struggle and fight, and that's why it's so difficult to change. Oh, well, that is interesting. To change something, like to start a diet or go for a walk or do something different than your body is used to doing, and that's interesting.
One of the main problems they had in reverse engineering these things is that they found out that the pilots are an integral component of the craft, and that they're using something like psychokinesis in order to pilot the craft. So you can develop, sophisticated cybernetic interfaces to link a brain to a navigation system. Obviously, that's not hard to understand. But it's not just a brain-machine interface. It actually involves psychokinesis. And so part of the crime that's been committed in this black project is that they have actually recruited not just adept psychics, but children with extraordinary psychic ability to act as pilots of these reverse engineered craft. There's a Marine, Michael Herrera, who, as part of Evan Greer's disclosure project, offered testimony to the effect that people in the U.S. deep state have scoured third and fourth world countries for children who they can effectively buy from their, impoverished parents and who exhibit extraordinary psi ability, and bring them to these black project facilities and use them basically as part of the guidance system to navigate with these craft.
That makes me think of the gifted and talented education program here in the States, where they kind of single out children and they're like, here, take these tests and let's find out your abilities and let's see what they choose. And they watch them throughout their entire education process to see which way they go and if they're fit candidates for this particular thing. Now, I don't like them going to third world countries and buying children off of impoverished families. I think that's absolutely disgusting. But the whole premise of it, like people in these reverse engineered alien crafts, I mean, come on, that's pretty rad.
Hey Dad, do an impression of Joe Biden explaining the plot to Star Wars.
So there's a galaxy parked on the side of a long time ago, back when I was working full time at anyway, I was the head of the embassy. It doesn't matter. Far away, there was galaxy, and there were robots. And the robots, they were not the droids you were looking for.
I don't care who you are, that's funny. Let's carry on with our story. Here's the next part.
But this wall over here on the right, you're sitting down, there's like an observation window, which I thought was the coolest thing, because if it's running, that means you can see the plasma flow in this thing. That'd be so cool. How cool would that be? But the blast went through the wall, and next thing you encounter would be the electromagnetic shielding, the fields. Well, whatever blast through there, it either the field stopped it, or they both stopped at contact. Because as soon as this made contact, simply because that kind of blast occurred, and the rest of it's intact, you would have to shut down in a picosecond, about a trillionth of a second. Otherwise, the engine would have been vaporized by the heat that's inside the plasma fields. Inside the electromagnetic fields, nothing would survive. So it shuts down real fail-safe. That's how you shut it down in emergency. So if somebody was shooting at this thing, they knew exactly where to hit.
Wow.
I mean, within an inch. They knew exactly where to hit this thing to shut it down and still keep it intact.
Did you look for a control surface with the seat?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, I sat down what was left of the chair, and right in front of me are these two big pods, about the size of a volleyball if you cut it in half. And they got indentations, and it's where your digits go. However, it wouldn't be like that. The only way you get your hands into it, you got to put these two fingers together. So that's what you got. And then you set it down, and you'll sink down till the top of your hands are even with the surface of the pods.
Are you saying that there was more width in the area where your two fingers go together?
Yeah, just enough for you to sink down into it to where the top of your fingers are now flush with the pod.
Okay.
So obviously that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, now this is interesting, David, because this sounds very, very similar to what Arnold Schwarzenegger puts his hand into at the end of Total Recall. And I'm wondering if they might have borrowed that from you, because you might have done this testimony before they made that movie.
I remember seeing
Except
that.
it's these two fingers in Total Recall that he does, not these. But it's very similar sounding.
Yeah, well, this is how I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I remember recall right, next thing didn't happen. I sat down, I finally get my hands settled in, and no sooner than I get them all settled, I thought, well, this is cool, it fits. These interlocking rings came up like, I saw a Batman movie with the Batmobile, and its shield, you go chink, 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 it's covered. Well, that's what it did, except it was faster than a Batmobile. It just went, chink, 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 and it was all the way up to your knuckles.
Wow.
And this thing has got you. Then all those rings started tightening down, and I was thinking, it's going to cut my fingers off. It don't stop. So I started to yell for help. And it's just the interaction with the thing was, that's what it was designed for. It was maintenance people would put their hands in. I didn't build it. I don't know the language. I don't know anything. So it just, I just wondered what they did with it. But obviously it was designed to maintenance. And with that window to look at the plasma field, obviously they would do alignments. That's something else I saw in the plasma fields. I have these very specialized plates that move the electromagnetic field so I can, for efficiency. They had something that looked like a tetrahedral turned inside out. And they were spaced all along the walls, but they were all in line of sight with each other.
Okay, I've got a couple of things. When he was talking about how they knew exactly where to hit it to bring it down, makes me think, obviously, there have been multiple of these particular things that they have, shot at over time, and they finally figured out how to get this one into, well, their possession. That's rad. Also, how he talked about putting his hands in the thing. Immediately, I was like, I've seen that in a movie. Where have I seen that? I've seen that in a movie, and I started to look, and he's like, hey, that was in Total Recall, and my brain went, oh, yeah, that's it. I don't know if, Recall borrowed it, or if he borrowed it from Recall. I don't know. But it's getting super interesting. I cannot wait until the next part. But for now, I'm calling it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please come on back in a couple of days. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day. That makes my conspiracy brain think, yeah, absolutely. Aliens are definitely, I already think that aliens are definitely here, but maybe that's the organization that holds all of the countries together with this Antarctica treaty, because aliens may be here and there, and that's what's going on. And everybody's like, yeah, we're going to work together on this, and this is what we're going to, that doesn't make any sense. I got all excited, and then I went back and I watched the beginning again. And I think the beginning... Work time.